Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host Eric.
Hi, Eric.
And that's my co-host Neil.
I'm Neil. And who complained that he wanted to watch Dolph Lundgren run around in a Speedo for almost an hour and a half, but somehow didn't make it for the broadcast here?
That would be David. David is out on a fire doing his job. And to be honest, he would probably still be watching the movie right now as we spoke.
I don't know. He really talked about how much he wanted to watch Dolph Lundgren in this. Just the amount of texts and talking about the glistening of the oil and shit. It got disturbing. How does David say it?
Yes, he does his little finger index finger through a circle with the other two fingers, hand motion he loves to do. Yes. But today we're talking about Masters of the Universe from 1987, just because the new one is coming out.
Oh my God. Yes. We have my wife to thank for this one.
Yes, your wife did a great job at suggesting this to kind of capture the zeitgeist of what's going on right now, but also capture and talk about a Canon Films movie that may have been the death of Canon Films. There's kind of a lot to talk about.
I don't know what makes me want to hit people more, the fact that you use zeitgeist or the movie.
So yeah, the new movie is coming out. I hear some positive things. In fact, I have a friend who is a little bit younger than me, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the toys, but I think he was prime age for the toys, so he has a lot of nostalgia for the IP, and he really, really liked the movie. He said it was like made for his 10-year-old self. He said he really, really enjoyed it, and that's basically what I've heard a lot of, is that it rights a lot of the wrongs that happen in this movie. And there is so much wrong.
There's a lot wrong with this movie
that we're gonna get to once we start talking about it properly. But Masters of the Universe from 1987. That's what we're talking about here in a few minutes. But we'll do it as we always do. Neil, what did you watch this week?
Tons and tons of television.
Anything good?
Lots of series, and just catching up with old stuff. Oh my God, there was. See, and I had all of this on the tip of my tongue, and now that we've come to talk about it, I can't remember any of it. Mm-hmm. So no movies. We didn't watch any movies. But we did play a ton of Mario Kart with the boy and the wife.
Oh, nice.
So that took up a lot of the evenings, played a lot of Mario Kart.
That's always fun.
Yeah, and my son has decided he wants to take up fishing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
So that's been consuming a bit of time, and lots of trips to Bass Pro. For those people
definitely
that do not
a place
know,
to get some fishing stuff.
Yes. I know we have some, one of the 4 listeners lives overseas. It's a giant store that just has all your outdoor needs for fishing, hunting, camping, clothes, boats,
guns. It's one of the most American stores you can think of. Is Bass
literally
Pro Shops.
Walked by an American flag button-up shirt. Mm-hmm. And I very ironically wanted to buy one.
Yeah, it is. If you are, for our foreign listeners, it is. There's a whole aisle for beef jerky and hot peanuts or hot nuts. You can get those.
Maybe are we thinking about the same store?
Yeah, right at the end, at the one here in Colorado Springs, you go up to and you walk out, and they have like a little station where you can get hot nuts and put it in a bag and then take it out. And then we have another store.
Hot nuts in the bag.
Hot nuts in the bag. We have another store that's close to Bass Pro Shop, which is even more American coded. It's called Shields.
Okay.
Yeah, Shields. And this if you want a gun, some nunchucks, a samurai sword, some Legos, some home decor that is the most folksy home decor you've ever seen in your entire life, the whole live, laugh, love type of home decor. You can get that at Shields. You can get a mountain bike. You can get skis. You can get you can get everything you want at Shields. But guns, you can get. They have the huge gun selection. In fact, for my son's graduation, my father-in-law was in town, and he is a gun enthusiast, and he went to Shields, and I politely stood there and listened to him as he talked about every single gun that was there and how much it was worth and who's the manufacturer and which ones he has and all this kind of stuff. It was very, it was a very America experience. Well, I'm proud to be an American. So you can't think of any of the other movies, the series you watched off the top of your head?
No, not really. Well, I mean, of the series, so we saw an advertisement for the live action Avatar, The Last Airbender, and we had watched the cartoons. So we thought, just for old time's sake, we throw on the cartoons, just kind of have that on the background while we were doing our thing.
Very cool.
That's about it.
We had like the empty nest experience for the last week. My son has been in Japan and he just came back today. So it was like, wow, this is how boring our life would be existing without our son in the house. And we just kind of hung around with each other for a little bit. And then I did watch The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And I forgot how nutso that movie is. In fact, I put it on the list for next month because I had such a good experience watching it. I forgot how goddamn insane Rebecca De Mornay was in that movie. So we'll have to watch that one. I don't think we have done enough thrillers. The kind of pot boiling thrillers that came out in the late 80s and 90s. We probably should do a few of those. I think that the Hand That Rocks the Cradle is definitely a prototypical one. I have to check that one out. And then I watched a lot of Titanic for some reason. I was half asleep and it was on Showtime, and I watched from the time Kate Winslet gets naked, which is the best time, all the way through where the ship sinks almost, and then I skipped the last part with the stupid reunion where she decides that she's going to forget about her husband and her other family and decide to meet her one night stand in heaven, who she raw dogged in a car 70 years before. So
I still have never seen that movie.
Oh, really? It's James Cameron, so it's done well. It's done really well as far as like story structure, setting up the accident and executing the boat sinking and stuff. But the tacked on romance and stuff like that, which pretty much everybody loved, I can't stand. I always try to kind of fast forward to that stuff. But the boat sinking and stuff is actually really well done because Cameron's Cameron. He loves the water, and he can shoot it and make it look good and and compelling.
Just for your son, Sonoboto wa shizumu.
Gesundheit.
The boat sinks. The boat sinks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched that.
I really wish you'd have let me have a long chat with your son before he left for Japan, because I've spent a lot of time there. I could have completely changed his experience.
It sounded like they were very short on time, like they were going from one place to another without hardly any time to have any, extended on your own leisure time.
That's fine. Just ditch the group, dude. You'll be good. He's graduated, yes?
Yes. So
he didn't know anybody there, anything. I could have totally gotten an itinerary for this kid. He would have had a kick-ass time.
This is, I don't know if you saw this news story where this kid was with his family in Japan and he got lost, and then his phone was dead, and then they found his body outside of Osaka. I was like, okay, I'm not reading a story right now. I was like, shit, a little paranoid. Yeah, because this may be completely wrong. Maybe I'm being racist or something like that, but it just feels like there's not that type of crime that you see in America there. Maybe if it makes you feel, it seems like it's a more safe area to me.
I never felt unsafe there, ever. But granted, when I was there, I was, learning how to hurt people while I was wearing pajamas. But it's such a just nicely organized country, and just learn some culture, learn some words, follow their rules. Very, very nice, sweet people. They just don't like when foreigners come in and are not trying to assimilate to their culture. You can make mistakes. You can make mistakes as long as when they correct you, you apologize and you try to do better. They're great. Perfectly fine.
Yeah. I had to make an emergency trip to Albuquerque this weekend because my sister was in the hospital, and she's doing okay. But I will say that I did have some
You bastard.
food.
You bastard. And you sent pictures too, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Some food that was like a religious experience. There's a place called Duran's Central Pharmacy in Old Town in Albuquerque on Central. And it's it's like a pharmacy, a gift shop, and a little restaurant. But the little restaurant is super popular, and it has the best red chili I've ever tasted in a restaurant. I won't say in my life because Grandma Romero, her red chili was the best I've ever had in my life. But this tasted close to it. It was as close
Very
to
close.
that the red chili is. So I had their blue corn breakfast enchiladas. So it was 2 rolled cheese enchiladas, blue corn tortillas with eggs, with scrambled eggs on top, smothered in red chili with these steamed potatoes on the side, and a ham steak as well, and a big ass tortilla and covered with butter. And that tortilla was thick. It was thick. Thicker than a
CK,
sticker.
not CC.
Yeah. It was.
Remember waiting for hours to get a seat at Sadie's when it was at the bowling alley before they opened up the restaurant? And then when they opened the restaurant, how disappointing it was.
Yeah, it just couldn't capture that same experience.
Yeah, completely changed it. And then, I'm going to call you. Who, from a single picture of a bowl of salsa, knew the restaurant?
Yes, there is a restaurant that has a very particular type of salsa that is different than everybody else's salsa. It's called Las Cuates in Albuquerque, and I sent a picture to Neil of this little bowl of salsa, and I said, "Where am I eating at?" And he picked it out immediately because the salsa is almost jelly-like in its consistency. It
just clings to the chips.
Yeah, and it
sticks to the food. It's amazing.
Dark red, and it's got this heat, but a little bit of sweetness in it at the same time.
Yes,
yeah, it's
so well balanced.
No other salsa tastes like it. And I had their combo plate. It was a chili relleno, a beef taco.
Chili relleno. Oh my god.
Chili relleno.
You got a lot of white people at your job, dude. You got to start hanging out with your folks.
And a enchilada as well. And I had a sopapilla, and it was the greatest. The sopapilla was like magnificent. The food was excellent. Don't get me wrong, but that sopapilla was like transcendent.
I love going to go hit Los Cuates for that, but nothing hits better than going and getting a little bit of watery green chili stew and some fresh tortillas at the Frontier, dude.
Yeah, that's true. I did pass by the Frontier, but I didn't have a chance to go there.
Well, because if you were going on Central to get to Duran's, you probably went by the Frontier.
Yeah. Yeah. On the way back, I went by the Frontier, but I didn't pass it on the way there. I took the long way back and wanted to look at all the scary parts of Central. But once you get towards San Mateo, once you go a little more east than that, that's when you're in the war zone. So you gotta keep moving. Keep moving. You gotta get out of there. So.
Well, I lived just 2 blocks behind the Frontier when I was in Albuquerque.
Student ghetto of UNM.
Yeah. The Frontier, man. They're not 24 hours anymore because we would haul in there at and get the combination plate at 2 a.m. and it was amazing.
Yes.
So good.
We're not here to talk about New Mexican food.
Fuck it. Let's start a New Mexican food podcast and figure out a way to write this off our taxes and start flying out and eating.
Yes. Oh God, that would be one of the greatest things to be as a food influencer. Because I think I remember sending you a reel this guy did on Instagram where he ate at Duran's Central Pharmacy, and we were both like, "Oh my God, this was like pornography to us." I just watched that reel
a little bit.
over and over
again. A little bit dirty because yeah.
So a bowl of chicharrones, a bowl of red chili, and some fresh tortillas. Put the chicharrones in the tortilla, dip it in the red chili. Boom.
Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we'll get an old 67 Chevy and we'll just totally get the thing redone and we'll drive it around to Mexico and we'll call it Diners, Drive-Ins, and Chile.
Yeah.
And we'll just go around and eat. What do you think?
God, yes.
We're
sitting here with these. What's this little phone booth serving chili on a Frisbee?
Oh, it's so good. And we can go by all the places that don't exist anymore, like the 7-Eleven in Cuba.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all subs.
All subs.
It's like a kick. It's like a shiv to the ribs in Flavortown.
So good.
All right. So are we putting off talking about Masters of the Universe?
We might. It's so this wasn't even frozen pizza. This was like you pulled it out of you pulled the frozen pizza out of the container, and somehow at the factory it had skipped a few steps, so you just had a few of the frozen vegetables on the bread. You didn't get any sauce or any fake cheese.
No sauce or anything.
It was hard to even enjoy the cheesiness of the film.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
It only
felt like
person.
it went on forever.
Yes, it was only an hour and 40 minutes, but it dragged on
forever and ever. And it had
the only
some
person
really
who was
good
having
actors.
a good time. Yeah. The only person who was having a good time was Frank Langella.
Oh yeah,
Skeletor. He was the only one who was like acting. It was trying to chew the scenery and have a good time. He was the only person that acquits himself in this movie. Just like Raul Julia in the Street Fighter movie, Frank Langella is the is the bison of this movie. Yeah, he's still having a good time, doing the best he can in this piece of crap movie. So when Masters of the Universe came out, I was 9 years old. It came out in 1982. And I will say that this was the last toy line that really captured my imagination. That I really, 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 well, I'll say that G.I. Joe, I think, just came out a little bit after Masters of the Universe, and then Transformers came out. I think we can look that up and see when they both came out. But I feel like Masters of the Universe was huge for me because they came out the early part of 1982, and I turned 9 in 82, and I wanted all of them. I thought they were the fucking coolest thing that ever to exist, and I included a link to the first wave of Masters of the Universe action figures.
So 82 was Masters of the Universe. 84 was the Transformers.
Okay. How about G.I. Joe? When did they come out? The small G.I. Joe figures.
Okay.
So Wave 1 came out in 1982, and I thought they were amazing. I mean, I had to get every single one of them. I had Beastman, I had He-Man, I had Man-at-Arms, I had Merman, I had Skeletor, of course, Skeletor being my absolute favorite character, Stratos.
So the original G.I. Joe, February 1st, 1964. So there was 3 releases. The Adventure Team, 1970 to 1976. The Real American Hero, the ones that we were probably more exposed to, was 1982 to 1994. And then there's the Modern Era and Classified series that began in 2000 to present.
Okay. So 1982 was a year for Masters of the Universe and He-Man. But I think I gravitated towards He-Man more initially because of Skeletor. Skeletor was just right up my alley, and Castle Grayskull was right up my alley as well. And Skeletor was the coolest goddamn villain to me. And this was before the cartoon came out. And I will say, and I was probably one of the few who will say this, is that I thought the cartoon kind of sucked. It ruined what I had in my mind for He-Man. I thought He-Man, in my vision of He-Man, and I included a few of the pictures of the original comics that came with the first series. And there's this one called King of Castle Grayskull, and it's got He-Man riding on Battle Cat, fighting Skeletor, and then Tila standing in the background. And it looks badass. It looks like there's some serious shit going on.
He's got that double-sided axe.
Yeah. And then there's another one that was the inside of it, and it's got, Skeletor's mind was tormented by hated images. It was because of He-Man that I, time and time again, suffered shameful defeat, he roared. I would have succeeded in my attempt to rule this planet if not for his noble companions in battle. And look at the look on Skeletor's face in this picture.
He's got a 1,000-yard stare. He looks
fucking sick. He looks sick.
He has seen some shit fighting He-Man.
His eyes are red. He said he's got the 1,000-yard stare. But this is what I expected, because in my mind, He-Man was like Conan. Conan was like He-Man. So the adventures that I did for myself were dark adventures full of magic and killing and beheadings and all that kind of stuff like that. And then the cartoon came out, and it was wimpy as hell, with Prince Adam, with He-Man's alter ego.
I have the power. That weird voice of his too.
Yeah. Prince Adam's voice was really, really weird. And then when he was He-Man, he had kind of a more strong voice. But Skeletor's voice always drove me crazy. Beast man, you boob. The way he kind of had that voice.
I love the memes. The Skeletor lounging and then running out. If you've donated blood, chances are it's in someone's boner right now.
Yeah.
Runs
He runs
out the
away,
door.
yes.
Yeah,
He-Man is
love
responsible for so many memes. It's ridiculous. There's also a iconic cover of DC Comics Superman and the Masters of the Universe, and it's got Superman. He's flying towards He-Man in the thought bubble. Superman's like, as long as Skeletor magically controls me, I must attack He-Man, and that means I could die from Eternia with death. So that was pretty fucking metal. I expected that kind of antics in the Filmation He-Man show.
God, He-Man looks like a freaking pro wrestler. He's got like his claw hands right there. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's jacked. He's got a neck that is like thick as a tree trunk. He looks like he could do some damage. The movie, let's go back a little bit. The cartoon really drove the sales of the action figures. There's a really good documentary on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us. And they have episodes about Star Wars figures and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe and Barbie. And of course they have one on He-Man. And the He-Man one is very, very interesting because Kenner Toys was eating Mattel's lunch when it came to action figures aimed at boys. Mattel wasn't selling shit, and they really wanted to kind of make that up, get into that market. So they had like a focus group talk to a bunch of little kids, little boys, and what they liked was power, having the power, being powerful, and making their own rules and stuff like that. So they came up with He-Man and I Have the Power, and they had a bunch of different people who claimed to have been the creators of He-Man, but it's more just like a group of different people that had a little bit of responsibility each. And they introduced the He-Man line with the first 8 action figures, and they made $38 million in 1 year. And it was a huge amount of money. And it's at its peak, 1986, He-Man made $400 million in sales. Action figures and all sorts of merch. We're talking about He-Man bed sheets and underoos and toothbrush and sleeping bags, all the kind of merch that was included with Masters of the Universe. And they decided, hey, we're going to make a He-Man movie. And right before the movie started, sales plummeted to $7 million in 1 year. Like everybody just decided, it was like, fuck He-Man. And nobody wanted to buy his stuff anymore.
Oh, so I just took a look. 400 million in 1986 is equivalent in purchasing power to about 1,215,401,460.
Yeah. They were making a shitload of money. It was a huge money maker. In fact, remember She-Ra, Princess of Power? They kind of did an offshoot of that for girls to make a equivalent to He-Man for the girls. And
didn't they redo He-Man recently? Redo the cartoon? Because
there's been several different reincarnations of He-Man. There was one that came out in 1989, and it was more of like a futuristic He-Man in space, and he had like a mullet and it was wearing like blue pants, and Skeletor looked really different, and that really bombed. And they did another one in the 90s that had like a 2-season run with they look much cooler. And then here recently, Kevin Smith was responsible for a He-Man show that was on Netflix for 2 seasons. And I have not watched any of those, but they look kind of cool as far as the animation and stuff goes. And apparently there are a lot of nerds out there like me who loved He-Man because it is still a fondly recognized character. And obviously with the new movie coming out, oh yes, Neil included the most iconic panel from the Masters of Universe, because there's a character called Fisto in the original. I mean, not in the original lineup. Probably, I think maybe second or third generation of figures. But there's a guy with a big old metal fist, and the caption says, "What does it say?"
Fisto, my friend, are you all right? Here, let me help you to your feet. I fisted hard, He-Man, but I could not fist them all.
So He-Man already had a few problems with his presentation.
Yeah, there's one.
There was Fisto, which had the metal fist, and there was his arch rival Jitsu, which was a very characterish Asian character with a gold hand that did a karate chop. So there was Jitsu and Fisto.
Yeah, dude, he had the shaved head with the top knot and
the stereotypical mustache and goatee, Charlie Chan looking kind of thing going on there. Yeah, it was a pretty bad caricature. Do you want to hit us with the Internet Movie Database tagline?
Yeah, let's do that. Of course, I've been looking at so many different things I didn't even know where the freaking tagline is. Okay, here we go. The heroic warrior He-Man battles against the evil Lord Skeletor and his armies of darkness for control of Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, sort of. They don't say that He-Man's barely in half the movie, and they go to present times and deal with these two nerdy teenagers who are dealing with all sorts of other bullshit because they couldn't afford to actually set it in a futuristic looking sets for the entire movie.
Courtney Cox.
Yes, Courtney Cox is in this movie, looking
and
young.
Then the guy who played Tom Paris on Star Trek,
Deep Space Nine, I think, or Voyager, or something.
Voyager,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Voyager. Yeah, I knew it. It took me a second from watching. I'm like, I recognize this guy.
So, for you, Neil, what was the defining toy franchise of your youth? You're a year older than me, so I don't know if He-Man hit with you or you even collected at that point, because you were kind of starting to age out probably the toys at that point.
Well, there were three. There were three. One was the Micronauts.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
2 was G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, just because my love of comic books, was the things that you have been gifting me ever so graciously, were the Crystal the Crystal Warriors.
Yeah.
And I've been looking online because I'd always wanted to get the Crystal Dragons, because I had all the characters at one point, but I didn't have the dragons because the dragons were just prohibitively expensive to me as a kid, reading those comic books and wanting those toys. And now I'm looking on eBay and just having the debate with myself. I'm a grown ass man. Should I spend money on that? And the answer I always come back to is no, I should not.
Well, that's what you have me for, because for your birthday, they had this Marvel Legends series. And last year, we both got the ROM action figure that was just a fucking hit. It was one of the best action figure remakes of a long, long time. In this year, they have 2
characters
from Crystar, the Crystal Warrior.
Crystar. Shut up.
Sorry.
Crystar, the Crystal Warrior.
Crystar, the Crystal Warrior.
Lean through this computer connection and slap you.
Crystar, the Crystal Warrior. They made Crystar, which was super, super hard to find, and then they have Warbow. And Warbow I found on pretty easily at a decent price. And I felt bad because I couldn't find Crystar for you. But I was in Albuquerque at the Coronado Mall, and they had this retro toy store. And this is funny. I walk up to the guy who owns the place and say, "Hey, do you have a Crystar the Crystal Warrior?" He's like, "No, man, we don't have any of that. It's just not really. It's not. I don't think that there's a big interest for that." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So anyway, I just go back to see what Marvel Legends they have, and I shit you not, it's sitting there on the hanging off of the peg at the normal price of the Marvel Legends series, which is not too expensive. So I grab it. I'm like, shit, he doesn't know what he has, because it's going for like $90 or more on eBay already, because it's hard to find. So as he's checking me out, I was like, dude, you did have this. He's like, oh shit, man, I didn't know that. And I'm like, obviously you don't know your inventory that well.
Yeah. So I was like, there's Prince Kristar, there's Ogeo, there's Ambara, there's Warbo, there's Stalax, there's Moltar, who's the bad guy, there's Calabar and Koth, Feldspar, and who's the bad dude? He had his eye taken out. Warbo shot him in the eye, and he pulled it out. So he was a one-eyed guy, and he had the weird kid and play kind of hair.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I've seen it before, but I don't know it off the top of my head. I wasn't really huge into them like you were.
Hey, me and Glenn Danzig both, because that was where he got the idea for the skull for his album. I was
ready to say that.
So I know I'm in good company because me and Glenn were reading the same books.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's funny. So yeah, toy lines were huge for us back in the day. Obviously, Neil and I are the same age where Star Wars toys were huge for us initially.
Yeah, they were, but man, I had a hard time getting a hold of those as a kid. Had a really hard time getting a hold of them because of the expense. I had a TIE fighter, but that was it.
No, man, I was freaking spoiled. I had the Death Star playset. I had the Millennium Falcon. I had the TIE fighter. I had the X-Wing. I had the Dagobah playset. I was spoiled. Guess when your parents are going to divorce, somebody's going to buy happiness. But I had a lot of that stuff. But the one that I think probably is the biggest still to me is the Shogun Warriors. Those were like or Jumbo Mashinder, if depending on where you find them at. But those were so big to me. In fact, my wife bought me the 1977 Godzilla, and I still have it. And I have two versions of Mazinger, or Mazinga for the United States version, but Mazinger. I have two of those as recreations of the original Shogun Warrior. So toys were huge, which makes me kind of sad because I think about my son. He was never really into action figures. He never really played with them. Like he played with Hot Wheels and other things like that, but he never was into action figures like I was. I could spend hours with He-Man and Skeletor and Castle Grayskull. I had so many of the characters for a long, long time. And this is my theory why maybe the toys fell off so bad and from 1986 to 87 is that they were like me. I was 13 in 86. I wasn't thinking about He-Man anymore. I was thinking about boobies.
She woman.
Yes, I was thinking about boobies and how to see boobies. So that was kind of a dropping off point for me. And also Transformers, I think, really usurped, or how do you say that? Usurped. The man, talking's bad today. It really just took over that because they were so much cooler. You know, you're looking at guys in loincloths all buff out and stuff like that, but now you're talking about robots that transform from daily shit into like a truck, a gun. Starscream was always the coolest one. It was a jet. Megatron was pretty cool.
I never got Soundwave. Like, who wants? It's literally like a 12-foot tall boombox coming at you.
Yeah.
I will to this day though. Every time I move something, like when I've got to undo like a chair, we're going to the beach. We got the fold-out chairs. It's doing the noise.
What was the low-budget version of Transformers that you would get sometimes?
The GoBots.
Yeah, the GoBots. Ugh.
Yeah, the one that turned into a scooter.
Yeah. Yeah, they were super, super lame compared to the Transformers. I'm going to confess something. One of the only things I ever stole in my life was a GoBot. And I stole it. It was a crime of opportunity at Safeway in Aztec, New Mexico, probably 82, 83-ish around there. I'm not sure when the GoBots came out. I was old enough to know better. But
I can hear, open the door. We know you're in there.
And the blister packaging was kind of loose, and he kind of fell out when I was holding it.
kind of fell out.
No, this is a crime of opportunity. I was like, oh shit. And I remember picking them up and I go, nobody will know if I put this in my pocket. And I put it in my pocket. And then I got home and I found no joy in playing of it. This is how Catholic I am. I found no joy in playing with the GoBot because I knew it was stolen goods and that Jesus was watching me and that I was going to go to hell. So I think I left it on the playground that for some other kid to get because I was too full of guilt to play with it. And play with other things too.
Yes, that's right. Like, is he not going
very
to
delayed drums on that?
Very, very much.
Go. All right, back to the movies. We keep pushing it back. This was produced by Canon Films, and it was a big debacle because Canon had the rights to Spider-Man, and they wanted to spend a lot of money on their Spider-Man movie. So they decided to take the money they had for Spider-Man and parlay it into profits. So they did Masters of the Universe with part of the budget, and they did Superman 4 Quest for Peace with the other part of the budget. And they're like, we're going to be making stacks on stacks on stacks because both of these movies are going to make huge profits, and we'll roll those huge profits into Spider-Man, and we'll make stacks on stacks on stacks on that one too. And then it's a good idea. And what happened to both movies? Yeah, they both flopped terribly. If you have seen Superman 4 Quest for Peace, it is a pile of shit. Maybe someday we'll do it. It is so bad. So bad. And of course, this movie is so bad. And this pretty much was the death knell of Canon Films. They had another movie that was that came out that year that was also kind of Life Force, the naked space vampire movie, which is also a cult classic, was also funded by Canon and flopped. So it really just kind of they ran out of money. It was so bad that they had no money for the end of the movie. So basically, they took a skeleton crew, Frank Langella, and then Dolph Lundgren, and they shot them in like a dark, halfway abandoned studio space. And that's why the end, when the end duel looks so fucking bad, because they had nothing to shoot it on. But still, to me, that's the best part of the movie, because at least Skeletor and He-Man are fighting.
He's running around shooting everybody with lasers half the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's carrying a sword in his left hand, does nothing with it, does fuck all with that sword. And then there's zapping people. That's it.
This movie makes the cardinal mistake of not trusting the established audience for the movie. Because we're going to have human characters that are the main focus of the movie, rather than the actual characters that we care about. The reason that we're fucking coming to see the movie.
Have you heard the Kevin Smith story about when Superman, when the guy wanted the giant mechanical spider? And
yes, exactly.
And the guy goes on to do Wild Wild West, and then boom, he gets a giant mechanical spider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that shows with the studio. The studio doesn't trust the established fan base, and they have to water it down to market it to a larger audience, which is mistake number one. And I think that's
Sony's doing that right now. Sony's doing that. Give the guys that are doing the Marvel movies, they're trusting that the fans are going to want to see this. But then Sony, they're doing like, Morbius, but he's possibly like a good guy. Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Anti-hero. He had some trauma, a little bit of a good guy. Just Venom, just absolutely wrecking the bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we can't afford Spider-Man, so we're going to do all these Spider-Man villains with no Spider-Man, which these villains don't mean shit without Spider-Man. It's like having we're going to have a Hobgoblin movie with no Spider-Man. We're going to have a, like Madam Web was the worst one. So who gives a shit about Madam Web?
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
It's just like this movie. The only characters that are in the original, in the IP, is He-Man, Skeletor, Evil Lyn, Man at Arms, Teela, and Beastman, and all the other stuff is not there. I mean, all these weird like bounty hunter ones, the one with the heavy metal haircut, it's like a weird kind of, I don't even know what the fuck you call it.
No, dude, but that reminded
White.
me, turn that black. And that was like every older chola at a car show.
Actually, I have seen a meme of when it's like when your tia's at the
Yes,
at the
exactly what that was.
And she had very chola hair. Yeah, chola is dick in Spanish. So like when people say that, it makes me laugh. She had a female cholo character haircut, and then there's a lizard.
So I can call you Verga now. That's fine.
Chupa me verga. They had this weird guy called Blade or something that was stupid. They had a lizard thing.
Yeah. My sword. I've done something to my sword.
But they took all the stuff that people expected to see and didn't do shit with it. And the weird thing is, apparently they didn't have the rights to any of the plot line or the backstory or anything that was established in the Filmation cartoons. They were only supposed to rely on the origin story that was made for the action figures. So they couldn't use like Orko or, all the what's the chick was like a bird. She was like enchantress or something like that. They couldn't use any of that. So they had to make stuff from the original.
Who was the dude with the big O on his chest that had no legs?
Orko.
Or that was Orko. Okay.
Yeah. They recycled so many of the original characters for later characters. If you look at Merman and then Stinkor and Merman are basically the same, except for they put scents in the plastic, and then when they put it, when they like the plastic beads had scents on it, and then they reformed the body type and stuff like that, so it stunk to high heaven. And apparently, people complained at the factory that it was just making everybody nauseous and stuff like that. But that was a ill-conceived action figure, and they were just getting ridiculous at the end with like a bumblebee dude, and like an elephant guy that squirted water out of his nose, and just all sorts of really weird. They were just throwing everything at the wall when it came to the action figures. Do you want to hit us with the critical consensus?
I'm almost afraid at this point. Yeah, let's go. All right. On the review aggregator website, Rotten Tomatoes, because what's that website do? It aggregates reviews. 21% of the 29 critics' reviews were positive. 21% were positive. That makes me wonder where the rest were. And it's an average rating of 3.6 to 10. And the consensus reads, Masters of the Universe is a slapdash adaptation of the He-Man mythos that can't overcome its cynical lack of raison d'etre, no matter how admirably Frank Langella throws himself into the role of Skeletor. Metacritic uses weighted average scores assigned the film a score of 35 out of 100, and that's based on 10 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews, which no one was shocked about. Variety called it a Conan Star Wars hybrid ripoff that is a colossal bore. Walter Goodman of the New York Times wrote, "If you like the toy, you'll love the movie."
Really?
Michael Wilmington. Yeah. Apparently he didn't know anybody with the toys. Michael Wilmington of the Los Angeles Times called it a misfiring, underdone epic. Johanna Steinmetz of the Chicago Tribune wrote that the film, while predictable and derivative, entertains audiences through its side plots set on Earth.
No way. That was the fucking worst part of the movie.
How about the painted Castle Grayskull? How about that?
Yeah.
Didn't even try to make a model.
Yeah, it was totally just a matte painting.
Several reviewers praised Frank Langella's portrayal of Skeletor, including Rose DeWolf in the Philadelphia Daily News, those saying his costume looked like a Halloween mask, and Roger Hulbert of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. In a retrospective review, Glenn Heath Jr. of Slant Magazine called it a jarring mix of corny screwball comedy and choppy action heroics. Chris Egerstein of HitFix, in an article identifying the film's campy positive qualities, called it an objectively bad film with a big heart. But see, that's an issue when the heart gets too big.
Yeah, enlarged.
It gets enlarged. Josh Winning of Digital Spy wrote, beloved of 80s kids, but scorned by critics. Okay. So born in 72, you were born in 73, but we
Yep.
grew up in the 80s. Does that make us 80s kids?
Totally.
Okay, but then fuck you, beloved by 80s kids. It's a high camp oddity that we should celebrate on its own terms.
So this is where
we're mostly negative.
This is where I defer, or I complain when people say, "Oh, I was an '80s kid," but if you were born in '88 and '89, you're not an '90s kid. Yeah, you're a '90s kid because you came of age. The time where you came of age is the decade you should claim. Like we were born in early '70s, so we could still enjoy the '70s. We still enjoy Battlestar Galactica and Star Wars and Chips and and like all the cheesy 70s stuff like Shields and Yarnell and all the all the weird Waylon Flowers and Madam, late 70s Kiss. We still had the ability to enjoy part of that, but then we came of age in '80s. That's when we were really, really growing up. Especially, you were 8. And I was 7 right when the '80s started. So that was where we really were exposed to that stuff. And so I would say we are definitely the '80s kids, not the people who are like, "Oh, I was born in '89. I'm an '80s kid." No, you're not. No, you're not.
'90s.
Yeah, if you can't experience, any of that stuff, you couldn't enjoy the movies as they were coming out, the music as it was coming out, and the books and stuff that was as they were coming out. Then you really can't say you're of that age.
Oof.
That's
I have coworkers now that were born in 2000.
Oh yeah, we have somebody at 2004 at my job.
Get the fuck out. Ugh.
It's crazy. I'm an old man. Old man Johnson.
Go shake your fist at a cloud.
So common complaints: cheap production values, excessive Earth setting, lack of recognizable cartoon elements, thin story, and limited special effects. And that's all true.
How much did they pay for that makeup they put on Billy Barty?
Oh God, who knows? He looks like he had balls on the side of his face.
Like he had those plates like orangutans had, but they started to melt.
Yeah, like Billy Barty was in a lot of stuff. I mean, I just remember him from just everything, and he was in tons of TV shows, tons of movies, and I remember him in Legend. I think he was Brown Tom, or one of the little Screwball. He was Screwball in Legend, one of the little dwarfs or whatever in the magical creatures. And there, he was Under the Rainbow. He was also in the original Lord of the Rings, the Ralph Bakshi one. Yeah, he was in tons of stuff. I remember him in lots of things. But yeah, they didn't do him justice. His makeup was awful. He could barely move his mouth. And you could see on Frank Langella's makeup, the makeup looked awful. It didn't really look like a skull to me. And then through his nose, you could tell there was mesh there. You
could see it move when he breathed.
Yeah, it was bad. But I said, people have very forgiving. Fans are forgiving. If you're really, really, really like something, people tend to be forgiving. It's just like horror movie fans. A movie could be shit, and you're like, it wasn't that bad. I've seen worse, or you'll still sit through stuff. And for people to say that this was good or have positive memories of it, it must have been when they were really young, because this movie sucks totally. No Battle Cat, no Stratos. Man at Arms looks super old.
In the cartoon, what Man at Arms? Wasn't Battle Cat like a whiny in the cartoon too?
Yes, his name was like Cringer or something like that. And then when He-Man turned into He-Man, he would turn the cat into Battle Cat. And to just that cartoon really, really, really bothered me. He-Man, you numbskull. And also, this movie has way too many rando guards and rando, henchmen that just get blown away. And He-Man's not even in this movie. You don't really get to know shit about He-Man. he doesn't have any sort of like character development. And I don't know if it's because Dolph Lundgren wasn't a great actor, but his line delivery was really, really bad. The most you can say for him is that he looked the part. I can't think of anybody else who in the 80s would have been a good He-Man. Arnold was already Conan. You don't really never needs to be another sword and sorcery type person because he's the definitive Conan. But yeah, it was bad. The stupid human side plot where the girl's parents die in an airplane accident for some reason, and then at the end of the movie she goes back in time just enough to keep them from flying in the plane, therefore altering all of space and time. Space and time, the butterfly
effect. She gets him back. Nope, I'm keeping the keys. Peace out.
Yeah, and that makes no sense. The MacGuffin, the cosmic key, makes zero sense either. And this is the new Sony so-and-so or whatever. Just stupid. I've been bitching about it. You can bitch about it for a while. What would bothered you the most about the movie?
I would say the thing that really, really bothered me the most was that final battle
between the Skeletor and He-Man.
Between Skeletor and He-Man, and the whole thing. He-Man, he gets the sword, and it didn't even look like the sword. They couldn't even get a sword that looked like the right sword.
Mm-hmm.
I have the power. He should have been doing that the whole freaking time. And then Christina Pickles, like, what the hell was that about? What was even her point?
The wizard lady who gets older and power is sapped and stuff like that.
Yes. I couldn't understand having watched the cartoons and having seen the toys. I never got the toys. I remember I had a young relative that had a bunch of the toys, but had seen all the toys. It never made sense why they put it together that way.
Well, even in the original comic books before the film strip, that Skeletor had one half of the sword and He-Man had the other half. And the primary motivation for Skeletor was to get the rest of the sword so he could have the power, the power sword. And as a kid, I had the purple half and the silver half. You put them together and you would, pretend you're He-Man. Except you're a chubby Hispanic kid.
One small thing getting in your way.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know who got it right though? Thundar
the Barbarian. Yeah, that was pretty badass.
Thundar got it. That would have been a good one. At least he was running around in like a fur onesie and not like, rocking the whole loincloth thing the whole time.
I'm sure you have seen the He-Man singing the "What's Going On" song. You haven't seen that? Oh my God, it's one of the most popular He-Man memes. You have to look it up on YouTube. He-Man, "What's Going On"? It is so funny, and it's that's Four Non Blonde song, "What's Up." It's it's He-Man singing that with a really high pitched voice, and he's dancing in his little Prince Adam outfit. Is so fucking funny. It is one of the more funny early memes that I remember. In fact, they're showing it in front of the new movie at the Alamo Drafthouse to show that video. It's too funny. Yeah. So the lack of budget.
I'm feeling a little bit left out that I haven't seen this.
Oh yeah, it is super famous. It's like a dance version of that song. What's Up? It's really, really, really silly. So just going back to what is wrong with the movie, that James Tolkien plays the lieutenant or detective Lubick, and he's just getting in the way and interfering with all this stuff. And obviously we know him as he's in Top Gun. He's in Back to the Future playing, the Principal Strickland in Back to the Future. And he just plays an idiot in this movie. And he's trying to can't believe what he's seeing and all the shit's going on. And he gets sucked into back to Eternia at the end of the movie. And, it's just stupid. Let's just see what this movie is. It is dumb as fuck.
It just, yeah. You know what? They had to push start this thing going down a hill. but none of the cylinders fired.
Yeah, and did you notice that the theme song sounded so much like Superman? It was like
Yes.
they could have sued the shit, and John Williams could have got some money from Bill Conti or whatever his name is, the guy who did the. Did you stay and watch the post credit stinger? Did you keep going on until the credits were over and Skeletor's head pops up out of this like pool of pink water and he says, "I'll be back," and it never happened. The sequel never happened.
No, that is the one thing that I was not going to do. As soon as it ended and and the two separate shots of him falling, that was horrific.
Yeah.
But as soon as that was done, I turned it off. I'm like, okay, cool. I did my duty for the show. Let's go talk about it. And here we are.
Yeah. Going back to it, they didn't give a shit about the fans and what they were expecting. Forced in a human storyline and set it on Earth. Excluded main characters from the from the property. The budget was fucking terrible. The makeup was really awful. The special effects were not special, especially when he's zipping around on that little sky surfboard thing.
Wow. Yeah, it's moving at like 4 miles an hour, but when we have the close-up shot, man, his locks are flowing back in the wind.
and He-Man doesn't really He-Man. You don't really give a shit about him. He doesn't really do anything. He's not very strong. You want He-Man, you expect him to be kicking the shit out of everybody, and he's still getting taken out by a bunch of random lackeys. Disappointing all the way around. And this is somebody who loved those toys back as a kid, and I do not recollect fondly on the show. Probably because I was 14 when it came out. I was fucking sick of He-Man. I was wanting to see, like I said earlier, some boobies. August 17th of 1987, I was 14. He-Man was not on my mind. I was way more into Freddy Krueger at this point, and all the great movies, the horror movies that were coming out, Evil Dead 2, and so I was really out of the demographic. And I really think that's probably what killed the property is people aged out of it, and there was newer and bigger things coming around the corner, especially Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when that came out. That dominated the toy market afterwards as well. So that was just probably the end.
It was crazy what that cartoon and that movie did.
Mm-hmm.
And is still doing.
Yeah. I think people, that's one thing that's tough is that, what was a criticism that I saw that people can't make a new Star Wars anymore, or Star Wars now can never be new and original because what made Star Wars so special was George Lucas kind of taking the stuff that he loved, like samurai movies and dogfighting movies and war movies and space serials like Buck Rogers and making a stew that is his own. And now people who are making Star Wars have seen Star Wars and are fans of Star Wars, so they're making stuff that they like from Star Wars, but never really making something original. And I think we cling to the 80s so much because it was an awesome decade. I will say, yeah, there's lots of shit that came out during that, but we can't let it go. And people are starving for new stuff. And I know you hated Obsession, but at least it was original, as making some money, making some money. At least there's that and Backrooms, and like what's the one where it's the submarine horror movie that the YouTuber made that Andrew liked, Iron Lung, I think it was what it was called. At least there's some new shit coming out. There's some people with ideas that are different than what we've seen, and I think it's cool. And I'm glad there's at least some new shit maybe coming out that is different, and it's not recycling the same stuff we've seen over and over and over again.
Yeah, I fucking hated Obsession. It was so bad. What was the movie? Furious, I think, is the one that we were thinking about going to see.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's called Furious. Yeah, it's got raid type vibes.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's Masters of the Universe from 1987. I do want to see the new one, and if I see it before next week's episode, I'll give us a mini review where we can both talk about it. But I don't know if I'm going to see it. I will. I'll try to see it maybe next Sunday. I'll try to get out and see it.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That was going to be a push to try, I think, to get anybody else in the family to want to go see that movie.
But I think at least they include all the characters and reference things that people remember about the show. And Skeletor looks cool. If you've seen the way Skeletor looks, he looks like fucking Skeletor. It looks pretty cool. But the guy who's playing He-Man isn't really looking that great to me. I don't know, but we'll see. I'll give it a shot. It's got to be better than this one. That's for sure. That's for sure. There's only
anything.
You can only go up from 1987 Masters of the Universe. Any final thoughts, Neil?
This is not a movie to be set aside lightly. This is a movie to be thrown with great force.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This is not a movie to be set aside lightly. Mm-hmm. This is a movie to be thrown with great, great, great force.
Thank you, Neil.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. I'm going to try to shoot some content for Reels this week on Facebook and on Instagram. Thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate it. Go to buymeacoffee.com and support the Retro Video Store. We'll be on Instagram and Facebook and rvspodcast222@gmail.com. And I think next week we will be doing True Lies with Arnold, an action movie that we have not done yet. Going back to the Arnold well.
Tom Arnold's best performance in anything.
Yes, exactly. The best thing Tom Arnold's ever done in this movie. So check it out.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store podcast.